I used to walk around in the world pretending that there was a camera crew following me anyway. So that no matter what I said, oh, we've talked about this before. Oh my God, no. So we're talking about so I would be interacting with a friend and something. I'd say something hilarious, but they wouldn't find it funny because maybe they would take it personally or something would happen. And oh man, you didn't laugh at that, but the aliens on the planet, they find that was fucking funny. The people in the theater watching this happening, they're all about it.
And see, now we manifested it.
Look at us.
We're talking and a camera crew is following us. Shit. That's quantum field.
Quantum field!
That is. It's quantum field right there.
We did it.
We manifested that somebody thought we had something to say, so they filmed us.
People are fascinating, especially up close. More especially when you get them talking about the things that they love. This is From the Hip, conversations in the service of passion, purpose, and play. I'm Adrianne Gunn. You ready to play?
In a world where I launch a video podcast,
I sit down and I talk to my friend Melissa Mattern, who is the founder of Meditation for Regular People. Seriously, regular people. That may also include you. We do stuff, we talk about things. Shenanigans.
ensue shenanigans.
You know, or some shit like that.
Good. So, it's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while.
I know.
It's been months.
I know, because I don't think either one of us liked the heat. And it was very hot here.
It was, well, it wasn't just that it was hot here. We normally go for walks together, but it was like, I couldn't breathe because there was smoke in the air for many of the weeks.
Right, it was hot and smoky, and then I was having my own personal allegory of the cave at my house because I figured out, as of last Thursday, I've had someone working in whatever domicile I was located in since January 20th, and today is September 28th.
Yeah, no kidding. So like you were like helping your dad's house, and then you came back and did your own.
I was like, man, life is short. Like, fix it up before you're dead. So I decided, I don't know when I'm gonna die, so I should fix it up now so I'm ready. Oh, I should turn my phone off. Hang on. Okay. So we don't get a cut. Sorry. Oh, I'm attached. Okay. See, Adrianne knew that I would get up and jump. Sorry, I totally forgot. I'm so amateur.
Yeah,
okay,
but then we're gonna miss your your kids' fun rings.
Okay.
Those
yeah.
What song is it now?
Right now, well, I've Kill Bill Whistle is my main, because since I'm a meditation teacher, that works really well. People are like, "Who's Kill Bill Whistle?" And I'm like, "Me, namaste."
I don't remember that whistle.
Yeah. Wait, now I can't do it. Yeah, the Kill Bill whistle when she's going down the thing, and she's gonna kill her. Yeah, Daryl Hannah's gonna kill. Oh my God, I'm giving it away.
Well,
okay, if you haven't seen,
she's gonna kill somebody in the movie.
It's not my problem. Speaking of,
what's up?
Okay, I have this huge confession. I had not seen The Princess Bride.
It's okay.
I was like the last person.
I've seen it I don't think I saw it when I was, let's see, high school once. I fell asleep trying to watch it at a slumber party. And then I watched it once, and I didn't memorize any of the things.
Yeah, it's amazing. Because there's this new book out called Dharma, the Princess Bride. And I'm like, well, I know what Dharma is. I just don't know what the Princess Bride is. Which is the opposite for most people. So I figured I'd join the
How the fuck
race.
was that?
It's good. I haven't read it yet. But it looks so good on my shelf, and I look so smart when people are like, whoa, like look at all your books. So I look smarter, but I will, it's on my list.
Yeah, I keep thinking there should be like an app where you go on a date and you can just like scan the front page of somebody's library the way you used to just walk into someone's house and scan their like movies and books and decide whether they were fuckable or not, depending on like what they read or what they at least were smart enough to display in their living room.
Right. Well, it's all about whatever album they bust out for their best game.
Yeah. My best friend and I, we went through the trouble in Vegas of, we were staying together, and we went through the trouble of like rearranging the apartment such that we had optimal like making out zones. Like we could bring people over, and they would like be drawn to a specific area, which would take them to some like a feature of the room in a part where then when you would turn around, oops, there's the bed, or oops, there's the couch.
So it's like,
or like
feng shui, but it's fuck shui.
Yeah, we created feng shui and we didn't know it. Oh my God, that's a good
It's
book.
a thing.
We should teach it. That's totally a
Totally.
thing. I'm gonna call him up and be like, dude, we thought that we had 2 ideas for books. One was we were going to create baby name books, but if you name your child, this is how they're gonna turn out to be like this, like Ashley's and Jennifer's and Sarah's, and those people tend to have similar qualities. That was one idea for a book we had. The other was
That should be more of a warning.
restaurant conversational languages. We would these really tiny books where you would learn enough to order food in different languages.
That's also a good idea. I like the name thing because you know me and the names. Like I'm
You don't want to name your child Chastity or Hope.
right.
Dropping that right now.
Having worked for a major temporary agency for many years that I cannot give the name Manpower. We would get some great names.
Yeah.
So we had my favorite. That was actually at another job, which I'll tell you about. But we had a woman named Clatonia. I was like, that is. But she said, "Call me Tony," and I was like, that wasn't my first thought. But okay. And then ironically,
Tony,
she called
sure.
in the only guy in the entire organization, answers the phone, and he's like, I can't believe this. And then I wasn't there when she came for an interview, but he said she didn't show. And we were like, well, maybe you couldn't find her. She was sitting right there, going, I'm right here. And you just didn't notice that it wasn't going well. But yeah, and then I had another guy at this other, because I did a lot of HR and before it was HR, and I used to work on this job line. This is why I talk so fast.
Close
Sorry,
just a little
I'm
bit by the
touching.
mic.
I'm fidgeting because I'm starting to talk about one of my favorite characters. So I interviewed people over the phone for jobs. And we had to interview 30 people an hour, which is a 2-minute interview. This is why I talk so fast. I talked slow when I started. And then I had to talk really fast because I needed the job. Because there was always some idiot that would take your place, and they made that very clear.
Yeah.
Like there was actually, and I cannot make this up, there was a light in the phone room, and it was green, yellow, and red, and you could not go to the bathroom if it was not in the green. And if you got caught in the bathroom, it was grounds for termination. And we all needed the job. So I would interview people for jobs.
Yeah.
And like sucky jobs, like repairing rug shampooers. And that's the worst of there were 3 really bad jobs. One was I would have to, and they would have scripts. It was all actors, and they liked to mess with us. And so the scripts were all written by people who were used to dealing with dramatic actors. So one of them was, you will be responsible for the packaging of our plastic garden pots. And I was always like, man, if this sounds good to you, this is not a good sign. And then my favorite was picking, packing, and packaging potpourri. And you would have to stand in line and be selected to pick, pack, and package potpourri that day. And every day they would pick different people. And you had to line up at 7 o'clock in the morning. But my favorite person who would call in for every job was Philanderer Jones.
Philanderer Jones.
Philanderer Jones.
The real name.
That was his name. That was his legal name. And he called in for every job. So it was amazing. But we had probably 100 jobs on there. And every Sunday, I'd go in at 7 o'clock in the morning. People would start calling. That's when people used to look at the Sunday ads. So pre-Monster, pre-Craigslist.
Yeah.
Yeah. T-Rex sat next to me, actually.
I remember taking a lot of temp gigs in my earlier years, and there's one ridiculously memorable instance when I was working at some sort of, I think it was a packaging place too. I remember sorting letters and mail. They were like, it's like graphic arts or packaging or whatever. And in my head there are these Bak twins, these 2 giant Samoan women.
Now I'm hungry for Bak. I'll just tell you right
they
now.
were like 2 giant Samoan women who would yell things across the floor, and it always sounded like "Bak, bak, bak." And I don't know what they were actually saying, but they would like gesture, and it sounded like they were always saying "Bak, bak, bak" to each other, and I don't know why.
That's hilarious. Well, you know the word barbarian. This is where my 8 years of Latin will pay off.
Oh, good.
Because the word barbarian comes from the Greeks and Romans. When people would come who didn't speak their language, they thought it sounded like bar when they would talk. Like that's how the name barbarian came from.
Fair.
Yeah, there's a little
Sweet.
University of Missouri. $32 a credit hour. You get what you pay for. Right here.
Nice. That and Latin.
That Latin.
Great.
8 years of Latin.
Good Lord. So here's the thing.
Okay.
I'm
What's the
Adrianne
thing?
Gunn,
Oh,
and this is my friend.
Melissa Mattern. And neighbor.
A neighbor, friend and neighbor.
Yes.
We live like 4 or 5 blocks away. I can never tell.
Yeah.
I always tell myself 4, and it might be 5.5.
Depends. Depends which route you take. If you turn the correct direction.
That's fair.
Yeah.
If I walk one path, I can get chicken wings and cookies
Yes.
and other things.
There are many paths to chicken wings and cookies.
So you have so many ridiculously fun jobs in your past that are either shitty or delightful, and you don't do any of those now because you do a different thing. You do a couple things.
I
right
do
now.
a couple things. I am the psychic genius. I'm out there with that.
Yeah.
I came out a couple years ago and then went professional, and that is a really fun part of my job. It's a really fun part of my day. I love my clients, and I'm not wearing any robes today. I don't have any crystals on. I don't smell like patchouli because I'm just regular, and I just happen to receive messages on demand and not so on demand. So dead
like
people,
in the shower.
Yeah, dead people like to visit me in the shower, and the
printer
rest
going?
of the time I'm. See, they're visiting.
They're
It's a
sending
message.
messages. That happens to you all the time.
It's you, Hefner.
It's the angels.
Oh my God. Yes.
The angels are
I
talking to us through
never-
the printer, and they're telling you to do the thing you've wanted to with your life, with your dreams. Sorry.
No, Adrianne and I, we have a lot of fun with the angels. But I'm just sort of direct message. I'm more of I am kind of like a fax. Maybe it's just very direct for me. And it was sort of all my life. And then I formalized it and kind of got it under control because I thought that whenever I went anywhere and I was hearing voices, I thought everybody was hearing voices. So that was really challenging in college when, I was probably at a lower receiving end in college because, you're studying and you're partying and also the hormones are going, and I wasn't as polished as I am now with receiving information. And so someone would walk by and I'd be wearing my Levi's 501s and I would hear them say, God, she looks fat in those, and I have the same pants. I wonder if I look that fat. And I would be thinking, what a bitch. And I thought everybody could hear that. I thought everybody could hear those messages. Like, oh, she's so sweet. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So it was that was a tough part for me growing up, is I thought everybody could hear all that stuff all the time. I thought everybody got, don't go there, don't do this, don't talk to that person. And so I was like, how can people make so many stupid mistakes? Even though I made my share, they were mostly accidentally on purpose, whereas other people seem to be a little more hackless.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, don't tell me what to do. Messages and my own intuition and from my guides. Fuck that. I'm going to do the opposite. Oh, I see how that worked out just then.
Yeah. Well, on the big stuff, I followed it. So that, that counts, I guess. But I'm definitely out front with it. And I think I give a lot of people, they're nervous about, they don't know what's wrong with them. And then when they come and tell me, I'm like, oh, you're in the club. There's a whole bunch of us. And I know lots of them. And then we don't all have to go be weird and go in drum circles or anything. We can just live regular lives and maybe have a little leg up on info.
And drum circles are okay.
They're okay.
They're good for people who like them.
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't
not a
caught me
requirement.
in a sweat. You wouldn't catch me in a sweat lodge, probably.
Because of the sweating.
The sweating and the lodging.
And the lighting. Well, also the smell. I like sweating. I don't smell so bad when I sweat. Other people can.
Yeah, and just the locked up thing. But I would I just came back from, we talked about, I went to Joe Dispenza, which was all quantum physics, and there were some very long meditations, and he's the only person who, before a 2-hour meditation, doesn't give a bathroom break.
Oh.
And so I was like, wow, I really have to transcend this. And then the last day, the meditation started at 4 in the morning because your melatonin is really high from 1 to 4. And so my rationalization for having coffee was, well, if he really wanted the melatonin, he would have started at 1. You can even rationalize at 3:30 in the morning when you're going down to a meditation, but it lasted till 8:20.
Wow.
That's not how long I lasted, but because we were sitting down and then you would rest on the floor and kind of sink in what we were doing. And on the last rest, I was like, go. And there was like an elephant herd running toward the bathroom. I think many other people gave out at the same time. And I found that I had lost my will to live. So.
I've definitely gotten to the place of like having to pee so bad that I would talk to my body about just absorbing it back in.
Right.
Like I don't know how this is gonna work out, but if you could just take it back. Take it back and see if you can use it.
That was the 3rd hour. The 3rd hour was the begging hour. 4th hour was lost will to live. And then I was, remember that astronaut lady that was stalking the guy and she like put on the Depends and was driving across the country with a car full of snacks wearing Depends and she was gonna stalk some guy. And I thought, maybe I should have worn a Depends and kind of tested that whole theory, but I felt like that was sort of a line I didn't want to cross.
This sounds a lot like one of the things I wanted to invent or hope exists, is that, so traffic has been getting worse in at least this city and others. And I find that since I don't have a penis, it's hard for me to just like pee in a bottle while I'm driving.
Okay.
And I sometimes have the need because I'm like, I don't want to pull off of this road or go into a place to go to the bathroom. I actually just want to get home, or like, so I keep wondering if there's some sort of like a piss pad for professional women. Like you're just like, the meeting's too long, you can't leave, or the traffic's rough, and you just like a super absorptive underwear or pad or something that's just like, thank you, we're leaving. But it turns out like I got stuck in the Eclipse traffic coming home.
Eclipse again?
The Eclipse again, yeah. Be the Totality is my new phrase. I got stuck in the Eclipse traffic, and I wanted to be. I wanted to be. I went to McMinnville, so we had like 25 seconds of full coverage, full Totality, and then since it was supposed to be the most epic traffic that we were going to see ever, I kind of felt honored to be in that. Like it's part of the shenanigans is like be in the traffic. So I was, and it was like an hour 15 minutes in, and so I tried. I had this cup from a turmeric latte, like a turmeric chai that I'd had like in the car. So it was already yellow inside. Like I already had it. It was already yellow. So I kept trying to navigate. Like it was stop and go. So we would stop.
Wait, were you driving?
For a long time. So I was driving.
Oh,
so for a hot minute.
Stop points.
I thought I could just put my car in park, no one would notice, and just have my pants down and just like pee in the cup or whatever. But we would like go every 20 seconds or so. So there was a moment where I did figure, I got my pants down, I was like dangling over the cup, but my body just wouldn't, because it's wrong to pee in the car. It's just wrong. Like I couldn't, I'm not on the toilet, I'm not like, my body just wouldn't like relax and let go. And I thought that was the challenge, but the challenge, it turns out, was to, while I'm inching forward, to put my pants back on. Taking them off
what I would
is
think.
super easy. I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to do this.
Right.
Like putting the cup away and trying to like.
It's not like when
wiggle
you're
in the
16
car.
and a cop bangs on the door and you can get your pants up real quick.
Yeah. Well, I have more hips at the moment than I always do, and so I'm just like, these came down pretty good.
Were you alone? Did
I
you
was
have
alone.
assistance?
I was alone in the car.
So no assistance.
So I ended up just scoping out like ahead on the road, like a shady area, and I was like, well, this is like, we're not moving along. If I get 6 cars back or 10 cars back, I don't even care. So I finally found some shade, and then pulled along the side of the road, and then ended up peeing in the cup on the side of my car. Like I like opened up the 2 passenger side doors.
Very efficient.
Like, and I felt like I had the whole sitting thing action. But the pee pad would have been so much easier. If you piss yourself in public, I think somebody should invent that.
Well, I think the biggest thing about turning 50 for me is now I don't, like, I won't sit through a meeting and be miserable. I'll be like, I need to take a break.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows I have a bladder. If I didn't have a bladder, it'd be weird.
Right.
So now I just say, we have to take a bio break. I got to do this.
Right.
But whereas in my 30s and 40s, when I was hard charging and I was really corporate, I would have never admitted that I needed to go to the bathroom.
And forgive me, but this is why women are amazing. But isn't it maybe the case that you could, in your 30s, sneeze and your bladder would come out of your body and you would still be in the meeting? Am I wrong?
Oh, yeah. I could do anything. Absolutely. You can do anything in your 30s. So if you're in your 30s, you better be freaking enjoy it, because I'll take that over anytime.
Right. That's fair.
50s, you just go, I got to go to the bathroom.
That's fair.
And get a coffee. And I'll be back when I feel like it. If you don't feel like waiting for me.
Yeah, I actually got a little sniff of that. I was looking forward to my 40s because I heard the rumor that when you hit like 40s as a female, you like stop giving a shit what other people think. You just like your give a shit falls out. And I was
44.
looking forward to that. So it turns out that the first stage of that for me was I actually, I found I put on weight because I didn't give a shit. And I was like, oh no, that's not what I meant. I just meant I wanted to be more brazen about pursuing my goals. Not like, oh, I'm thicker than I was last year and the year before that.
Dude, it's just a skin bag. This
I
is
know.
it. It's a meat bag.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, let's see what this baby can do.
Yeah. When I grow up, I want to be Jessie Grout, though, and so I'm a little far from, like, being a ninja warrior. Next year, though, right?
Next week. That's all I've been doing is this whole, like, don't put that put in the quantum field what you want to happen.
Yeah.
You know, not next week, next month, just tomorrow. It starts tomorrow. We are the only beings who can recreate our lives in the next minute.
That's fair.
And I think I've recreated myself more in the last 2 years than and I'm bolder. I don't care. You know, I got cancer, and after you get cancer, like, the rest of the static fucking goes down.
That's true.
You know, it really does. It's static when I think, oh, what does this person think? And then I think, what do I care? I only care what the people closest to me, how I relate to them, and the imprint that I leave on them. And anybody else who wants to hang out, great. If you don't like it, move it along. I don't have time for this. And especially, you know, I teach meditation. The first time you ask people to close their eyes and say Om, you go, God, I hope I'm not. I just went, you know, if they don't Om, then I'll Om enough for all of us.
That's a t-shirt.
And they do Om
for all of us.
They do Om. And as I've continued to teach, the Oms change in all my classes, and they all have their own unique sound.
Yeah.
And because one of my classes is primarily males, and one of my classes is primarily females, and they all have their own Om and their own way of Oming, and they dig it. And I was just at this meditation thing, and they didn't Om, and I felt a little almost interruptus. I didn't get my Om on afterwards. Yeah. That's a good finish for me.
Totally. Sorry, I'm being distracted because Kitty's playing with the lots of things. Should we get him? I don't know. Bentley. It's just noisy, dude. Can you play with something that's quieter?
Clearly you don't have kids. Because right now he would go for the loudest toy. Or would hurt himself. He would just go for that coffee table corner. Just head to the coffee table.
Oh, I did that a lot growing up.
Yeah.
It's explain
it's magnetic.
a couple things.
Yeah.
About me, but...
So really, we haven't seen each other this summer. It was the smoke. It was the rehab. It's hot. I don't tolerate the heat very well.
You got, like, rehab of your house.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Just, like, throw out rehab.
That we know of. The rehab of my house, which was amazing to watch it unfold. But we had two distinct personalities in the house.
Okay.
They have me, Miss Quantum Physics, of, oh, let's put that out there and let's see how it works. And then the main guy that I worked with, that was like, if Chicken Little had rehab skills, like tiling and stuff. I don't know if that's gonna work. I don't know if we're gonna have enough. And so he had these two personalities in the house, and at times he was winning and I would get like really down and we can't possibly do this. And then at times I was winning and he'd be like, yeah, we can do anything.
Right.
And then super hardcore Christians were the painters, and they like to play not Christian rock, which I can tolerate if I've had enough chemicals, but like the screaming evangelical singing. and I let him take my Alexa. So Alexa was poor Alexa trying to jump off the table and
They have
kill
screamo
herself.
Christian stuff?
They do have screamo Christian stuff. It's like
man.
if heavy metal, like bred with Jerry Falwell.
Wow.
It was very hardcore Christian. So here they are in the home of a psychic, all these really hardcore Christians. So we had some great discussions over Grout, what color Grout, and is there room for Christ in my life after the grouting?
I don't know. Depends on how widely you set the tiles.
That's true. That's true. I learned tons about tile and drainage and windows and paint and
Right.
But it's now great, and I'm alive to enjoy it. And
I love being on the other side of home renovation.
yeah,
Poof. And at the beginning of home renovation, where you're like, oh, ideas and dreaming it. And then there's that like dusty, dirty, I would do the kind of reno, so I did like 3 years in a row of renovating my house in different rooms, and I just felt as though I was taking shit from one room to, like the shit storm would go from one room to the other and just squish it last minute, just throw things into different rooms. So different rooms were in weird amounts of chaos as other rooms were completing. I'm really glad not to be in that state right now.
I
in
loved
my
it.
house.
I would start again. I loved it. I loved the design part. I loved like seeing something. How can I put this in and how can I change it? And then every room, we took everything out and then we only put back what we wanted and we got rid of the rest. I know.
Oh, I
Live
know
the
you
dream.
wanted to do the like declutter
It's
shit.
not even declutter. I'm going to give you a startling fact.
Okay.
We can walk to the store and they have almost everything. So I can get shampoo when there's only this much shampoo left, and I never have an interruption in shampoo service.
Oh, that's how I live. I don't have to have 8 bottles of shampoo in the cupboard.
I'm reformed. I'm born again.
How does that feel?
Like, and we're only gonna eat one head of lettuce. I don't need 2.
Right.
I can go get another one. It turns out they'll sell you a head of lettuce. If you have money, they'll give it to you.
You can
Same
just
with the shampoo.
You can just notice when you're almost done with toothpaste, and then get more, and not have to have 5 or 8 boxes.
With no interruption of toothpaste whatsoever. So that was big to me, because my parents were always, just in case, and so was I. And it turns out if you have money, people will hand over anything pretty much anything in a store. So I've cut down on how much we have. I spend less time looking past other things to look for things that I don't know where those things are. I'm that way with everything but books.
Yeah.
I still have a lot of books.
Fair. What are you
I love
reading right
books.
now?
Oh God, I'm reading a book called One City that's about interconnectedness from a Buddhist standpoint by Ethan Mattern, which is amazing. And then I'm also reading 10 Commitments by David Simon because I'm doing that in 2 classes. And then I'm reading another book that is seriously, I'm taking this continuing education class. It's called I Am That.
Oh,
and it is,
yeah.
Do you know that book? It's
I have a friend that
classic-
does the prayers, the I am that prayers thing.
Oh, this book is like an ancient spirituality book that just every page is the same. And it has 446 pages, and each one less interesting than the last.
Oh, that sounds
But
awesome.
I did finish. I have like 10 pages left, but I feel like those could push me over the edge. So I'm always reading 2 to 3 books.
Yeah.
One is required because I'm always in some sort of class.
Right.
And then one is usually for kind of fun. And then the other thing I'm obsessed with right now, which we haven't talked about, is the Buddhist Wheel.
The Buddhist Wheel.
So I'm obsessed with the Buddhist
don't
Wheel.
know what
The
this
Buddhist
is.
Wheel turns. It's in every Buddhist home. There's a picture of the Buddhist Wheel.
Okay.
And it has all these interconnected pieces, and the Buddhist theory is that it's always turning. So it explains if I'm having a hard time with Trump, all I have to do is think about the Buddhist Wheel, because he's caught in the Buddhist Wheel with Hello Kitty, it's called the jealous God. That you can't just win, the other person has to lose. You have to come out ahead, you have to humiliate the opponent. It's everything that he is, and I'm like, he's just caught, the whole nation is caught in this part of the Buddhist Wheel right now. and it will turn. The Buddhist wheel always turns.
What's the next thing that happens on
I
the
don't
wheel?
know. I'm good, but I'm not that good as a psychic.
Oh no, there isn't a phasal thing?
No, it's just, it turns, and you can
Something
change
else
in
happens.
1 minute from different parts of the Buddhist wheel, because Buddhism is all about impermanence. And I know as much about Buddhism that if the only thing you know how to cook was an omelet and you were calling yourself a chef,
Yeah.
I know like just enough to be effective / dangerous. I'm obsessed with that. So I'm reading 2 books on the Buddhist wheel right now, because one is written by the Dalai Lama, and one is written by David Nichtern, Ethan Nichtern's dad,
Okay.
who's in Krishna Das's band and produced the song Midnight at the Oasis.
Well, shit.
But he's a Buddhist master, and he's amazing. He's an amazing teacher. But
Right on. I just remembered one of my. Sometimes I have prayers that I just sort of scream. It's similar to like the Serenity Now from Seinfeld thing. Like, so when you said impermanence, I have these moments, these frustrating moments in the last month or so, where I will like hear an internal voice yell like impermanence, impermanence as a reminder, but it's not a quiet reminder. It's like if it's a moment of traffic that's not so great, or a sensation in my body I'm not entirely fond of, or like a conversation that's not going the way I'd like to. There's this character in my head that yells impermanence now. Just a reminder. It's like, oh yeah, because it turns out. So I have this great ability to really just treasure a particular moment. Notice it's happening. Be so deep in the moment.
That's one of the best
right?
things about you.
Yeah, it's just be so very, very in the moment, and like take joy when it's happening, that sort of thing. And it sometimes that same strategy to be so very, very in the moment and expand what's going on. Sometimes if there's something that's not so delightful that I'm experiencing, I'm like, I feel as if there's never going to be any other moment. It's so much bigger and deeper when it's uncomfortable. Like the discomfort gets even bigger sometimes because it's a strategy. It's the same strategy, just different sides of it. Yeah.
Right.
And so in those moments, I'm like, wait, impermanence. Yeah. This discomfort won't last, and trying to believe it even.
Well, in that crazy I Am That book that I did not enjoy, there was one, in the 446 pages, there was one truth bomb. It's not linear, events are beads on a string. Mm-hmm. So you're really going around on these beads. So I'm like, let's get to the next bead. Ready for the next bead, please. Yeah, when you're in that place where it's so dark. This has been, my dad died this year. That was huge, and when I went in those really dark places, I had to sort of remember this is impermanent, but when you're in it, it doesn't seem super permanent.
I definitely.
So what are you reading?
Am I reading anything? Shit. I've been binge watching TV a bit, like you do. Oh, proudly.
Yeah. I'm proud of it.
like Atypical was fun on Netflix. The show about the kid with autism, like bringing back actors that used to be like, the fun thing about streaming and all of the new shows on, you bring back a lot of actors that, in the olden days wouldn't have careers after 40.
Right.
So Michael Rappaport and what's her name? Oh, her name's in my file sometimes, but like stuff on the Netflix, but books. Yeah. I'm near my book. I keep wanting to finish Flow, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi.
Okay, that's on my
shelf
list
too. Oh, I'm reading Truth in Dating. That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And what's the third thing? Because I usually have 2 to 3 books cracked open. It's those 2 that I pick up. What is the other one? I want to get Brene Brown's new book. I have not yet.
I'm gonna hold out on Brene Brown.
Oh yeah?
I am. I don't know why, because I've seen people tritely quote her, so I'm like, not for me.
She's fun to read. I think it's better if you know the context, if you watched her talk about it. So I'm definitely watching most of the interviews that are happening with her.
I couldn't pick her up. If she walked in here right now and you were like, I'd be like, why is that your next person?
Yeah, it'd be the one that I would hug. She likes to have turquoise necklaces and her jean jacket. And probably a white shirt. Okay. Also, she's blonde and from Texas.
Good tip. So if I see that person on the street,
you're like, oh my God, Brene! We're just a random lady.
You Brene Brown? No. I don't think I've ever seen her, but I've seen people that I don't necessarily respect their work.
Uh-huh.
That's me being so kind, because you know I'm capable of so many more words for that.
Sure, fair.
But people I don't respect their work tend to quote her a lot, and so I have associated her with them.
Oh, that's unfair
It is.
to her, but she's fine. She's doing fine.
Yeah, she's probably okay without my book purchases, but I may give her a shot.
I think that's the challenge of reaching some level of success, is if you reach some sort of mainstream success, there's some crappy people that think you're great. And they're not really the best spokespeople for you.
Right. Well, I held on Wayne Dyer until a year before he died. And then I fell in love with his work, so I was devastated when he died, because it was a new love. It wasn't like, Wayne Dyer. You know, I was definitely really, really, really embedded in his work when he died, so I was very surprised and sad. But with Brene, I'll try to catch her while she's still in her body, still in the meat bag.
I actually really, really loved the book she wrote before everybody knew who she was. I mean, people knew who she was enough that she got the TED Talk gig, but reading the difference between reading The Gifts of Imperfection and then reading Daring Greatly. Daring Greatly is the book that came after she had her TED Talk go viral. Gifts of Imperfection were before that. And there's a really interesting, the perspective shift in Gifts of Imperfection, you could see that she's uncovering these stories of the qualities and the strategies of wholehearted people who have wholehearted living, and her smack in the face of realizing that she wasn't living that way. So you can see the book reads as someone going on the journey, on the path. She's in the middle of it. And it's really interesting. You see her in it, there's a level of humility, and it's amazing, and it's like, oh shit, me too. You feel camaraderie. And then the next book is written from the perspective of somebody who's been taken seriously for her ideas in the world, and so she's got a little bit of authority, and I don't mind people having an authority. It's a very interesting thing to feel the difference when she absolutely will still write from the point of view of, I'm on the path too.
Right.
And there's a difference when somebody's you can say shit out loud and everybody's quoting you. There's a different writing voice that you're writing from, and those. Right.
When you say shit out loud and people are like, what a freak. It is. And when you have your needs taken care of, when you have your financial needs taken care of, you have hair and makeup, you have a great editor, this book will be published.
Right.
I think you write a different way, and you work a different way when that's taken care of.
Yeah.
When you're first starting out, not so much.
I used to walk around in the world pretending that there was a camera crew following me anyway. So that no matter what I said, we've talked about this before. Oh my god, no! So we're talking about so I would be interacting with a friend and something. I'd say something hilarious, but they wouldn't find it funny because maybe they would take it personally or something would happen, and oh man, you didn't laugh at that, but the aliens on the planet, they find that was fucking funny. The people in the theater watching this happening, they were all about it.
And see, now we manifested it.
Look at us.
We're talking, and a camera crew is following us. Shit. That's quantum field.
Quantum field!
That's quantum field right there.
We did it.
We manifested it that somebody thought we had something to say, so they filmed us.
Aw.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And I think we both have. We have very similar messages, just different driven. Because I know, I've never told you this.
Yeah?
But people always be like, what's with Adrianne? And what's with that? on your Instagram and on your videos, what? Because people know that we're friends, and they're like, what? A, who does her hair? Because it's amazing. And B, what's with those? And I said, well, you thought about it enough to ask me when you saw me. I think they're pretty effective.
You're talking about my Instagram post?
Yeah, because you really will post about anything, and I'm not going to call anything out poop, but you thought about it, you asked 2 people, and then you asked me. That's 4 people that she reached without even trying. She just sat down and talked. So we're reaching more people than most people are, because you really are not I think you're very you're very entertained by putting it out there and putting people right on that knife edge of comfort.
Truth,
comfort
real
and
life,
joy.
comfort outside. I was reading, so I read The War of Art, which a lot of people like. I don't remember who wrote it, but it's about creativity, and mostly it's about resistance and creativity and pursuing your goals and that sort of thing. And there was this chapter where the guy was talking about, like, the universe is pulling for you, and his metaphor of talking about that is like, believing that the universe is pulling for you is like saying that we're rooting for ants. Like the God in the universe or the angels or whatever, that there's elements in the universe that are pulling for you and for what you want, right? It's like you like rooting for ants. And I remember reading it, and I don't know what mood I was in, and I was like, fucking lame. Like, who roots for ants? Like, no one does that. And then I realized it just seemed absurd. I'm like, why am I not falling in line? That seems like a perfectly good metaphor that I would be like, yeah, the universe is pulling for us like we would pull for ants.
Right.
But I'm like, that's dumb. No one does that. And then I'm in my car, like 2 days later, and there's an ant on the side of, like, the outside of my car. And I'm like, you go. I just decided to buy into that. It's like, you go, ant on the side of my car. And I was thinking of this as you're talking about, sometimes I do share or get excited about pooping or poop, just like, because a friend of mine was talking about, we used to get, like, throw a party, the amount of pleasure that we would get and for being rewarded for pooping when we were little. It was like, you did it, and you'd throw up, like, poo in the potty party or whatever.
When I was getting the kids, when I was giving myself a raise by eliminating diapers. I don't like to call it potty training.
Right.
Okay, hang on, I have to cough. Sorry.
Sure.
I was sitting there, and you were enchanting me with your poop stories.
Well, like, we used to celebrate that in the training. You get, like, really
Totally.
excited.
I gave out an M&M. There was a prize.
Yeah. Well, so it just occurred to me, much like we don't cheer for ants, I'm like, why isn't pooping worth celebrating still?
Totally.
Because the deal is, if you live a stressful life, and a lot of us do in the Western culture, it's harder to poop.
It's hard to do everything.
Yeah, and so if you're, like, able to do it regularly, it comes out okay, and it doesn't hurt, and, like, that's awesome.
Yeah, you get sicker faster, you stay sicker longer, it's harder for your body parts because we were not meant to live in this type of stress, yet we seem to lap it up. You know, like, pour me another bowl, man. Where can I get some more? By, constantly rehearsing conversations, and what did that person mean, and I got to get mine, and whatever is hanging you up. We were like, please, sir, can I have some more stress? Constantly.
Yeah.
And until you stop it and say, hey, I'm not really down with this anymore. And that's part of the being in the present moment, and that's celebrating poop.
Definitely.
Or a tremendous glass of iced tea.
Right.
That is truly delicious when you can get a good glass of iced tea.
I have visceral moments of iced tea at, like, Applebee's in Vegas. There's when I used to steal Splenda. I mean, I would find Splenda places like Starbucks because I'm like, why buy it? They have so many.
Right, and we have so
Splendas
few.
here. Yeah.
We're just evening it out.
Yeah. So just like, iced tea with lime.
Lemon.
Lemon is what you would
Plain.
experience and predict.
lime,
like
yeah.
lime in an iced tea is
Yeah.
delightful.
Yeah, but just a good cold beverage or just seeing a friend. That's why I call you the unicorn.
Yeah.
When I see you, I'm like, oh, it's Adrianne.
Oh, this is the plug. Can we have the unicorn? So this is so fun.
Wait a minute. Bring us the unicorn. Oh my God, I'm living for it.
Oh. So if you're listening, we have a plush, and actually it's much larger than I thought it was going to be. A plush, like basketball, slightly larger than basketball-sized white LED light up unicorn in the center of the couch here, with its beautiful rainbow mane. Magical, and it changes colors.
Yeah, and yet they're both unicorns, yet they're both equally beautiful in their own way.
Twinsies, but we're cousins, identical cousins.
It's my unicorn from another mother. But yeah, I went because like we lived in the same neighborhood for years, but I never saw you. And then I met you, and I started seeing you everywhere.
Oh, yeah?
Like you would just pop up. I'd be doing something where I didn't think you'd be there, and then boom, you would come out of nowhere like a unicorn, and then soon be gone. Were you really there to begin with? I don't know.
I mean, am I here now? You think you...
We are being here now.
Yeah, we're here now. But, I mean, you're not the same you that you are in my head, and I am not this one that I'm in your head.
No, and I hope I'm not the person I am in my own head.
Oh my God. Dear God, do not let me actually be the person I think I am.
Yeah.
That's a prayer. That's good.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's be the person my dog thinks I am, or whatever it is. I was just at another meditation thing where they said, with people, in a relationship, you're looking for like a 50-50 relationship. Yeah. With your pet, it's 100-100.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how we roll at our house.
Nice.
And with the, see how we have to, yes.
Pet the unicorn.
Stroke him. Or her, or I'm not. I mean, you can be in the military, whatever you want to do. Here, you're free.
This unicorn can be any and all of the genders that
Yes.
could be created.
Oh, and then it goes to multi.
Multicolors, yeah.
God,
that's possible.
Yeah, thank God we're not on psychedelics. Never get done with this.
No. So, are there any lessons you need to impart with people today?
Oh my gosh.
Something useful?
Be in the present.
Yeah.
Just be in the present, and especially with our current political situation, because we just call it this esoteric thing. Just be in the moment and know that it's going to swing, and hug somebody that you love.
Oh,
absolutely,
definitely.
Just hug them. Just give them some love and hug them, and take a minute to look around and see what's going on. It's pretty much, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Gets down to, so when I was 16, and we didn't talk about too much entrepreneurial stuff, so I will give you my entrepreneurial advice. Okay. Which is when I was 16, I got my first killer job. I worked at this summer camp, and the oldest person that had worked at the camp, which he just retired, he's 75.
Oh, wow.
He sat down and said, "Do you want to succeed at this job?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was okay. Here's what you need to do. Drive slow. Because then you'll never hit a kid.
Oh.
So drive slow. You think you can do that? I'm like, absolutely I can do that. Be on time. Because the kids will love you, the owners will love you, because everybody gets their full activity time. Yeah. And if you just do those two things, you will be a top performer. But if you want to really hit over the fence, right, look around, see what needs to be done, and do it. Oh my God. That's it. So that's been the theme of my entire life, which is why you don't want to be behind me on the road. Drive slow, be on time, look around, see what needs to be done.
But if you are behind Melissa Mattern on a road, buy my piss pads.
Well, that's how that went. Thanks for joining us on this episode. Thanks for watching, listening, reading, imbibing, however you took this in. Thanks for being here. And if you really enjoyed it, I'd love it if you would do all of the things. Like, share, ring a bell, bang a gong, tell a friend, and come back next time. I hope you had as much fun as I did.